Okay, so just to continue with deals, masterminding, and knowledge, I handed you guys some really random stuff, and you're looking at it going, I have no idea what this is.
Not that I don't want to.
So this is what I did today, and what I want to illustrate here is that a lot of times when you're permitting, when you're developing, when you're flipping something, you go to a municipality, their first answer is what?
No.
Thank you. The first answer is always no, or it's more money. And when we're investing, no and more money are not any fun. So look at this weird, ugly drawing, and I'll draw the other side of it. And this is your weird cul-de-sac. Okay, this is 91st Street right here. And then this is 8th, and this is in Lake Stevens. And for my parents who just built a duplex right here. That weird little dot is where the sewer is for the next duplex. Here's your little map of sewer, in case you're really, really wondering.
Is that where they put it?
Which one, what is this one?
That's this.
Oh.
That is the manhole.
So
I'm
it
going to
goes this
explain to
way.
you how I just saved my parents $25,000. This one right here is the existing side sewer. A side sewer is coming in off of 91st and servicing this duplex. Problem is, it's also servicing a house right here.
Why is that a problem?
Because it's only 6 inches wide, and a 6-inch sewer can only service 4 units, which means I can't put my other duplex on this. So I said to the city of Lake Stevens, the sewer district, hey, what about this? Because they want me to cut this road wide open, put a manhole right here for this. This stupid little stretch, that. 103 feet. Guess how much that is?
$1 million.
50
$25,000.
It's all 54. $54,000. And I was like, well, that's a lot of money. So I go to Lake Stevens. First they say no. So I'm going to kid about this for 2 seconds, but here's the people who you talk to who are doing your permitting, who are doing the developing, the engineers, stuff like that. Those people operate in a box. So sometimes you just have to give them ideas. So I went in there and pretended to know nothing. I know I wasn't doing to trick the person. I just wanted the other individual to have the feeling of power and superiority and things like that. So who's seen Columbo? And you know how Columbo walks in? Hey, Isaac, so I was just wondering, why your car was parked in front of the murder place on Thursday night. I don't get it. So I went in and I said, hey, so how many units can I service off this? I already knew the answer to this question. And he says, I want you to do this. Oh, there's my first no. I'm on the right track. This is the actual as-built for that side sewer. If you're curious what it looks like, this line right here. And you can see it's a 6-inch to a 4-inch to a 4-inch, and it curls back and forth. It's a mess. And I don't know why they started on one property and crossed it out. It doesn't matter. So I said to him, I said, hey, here's what I'd like to do. And he says, no, you got to do this. And so I said, well, let me share a few thoughts and ideas. And you can tell me no, I don't know really what to do with these things. Just hear me out. Okay. I said, how many units can we put off this? He says, 4. And I'm like, oh. I said, well, could I go back and just redo this line as an 8? And he said, well, that's a possibility. Oops, sweet, we've already almost saved money. And I said, could I bring this line off of here, off 91st, over? And he said, yep. So, we saved money again. And I said, what if I came in over here and all of a sudden he says, no, but I want you to drop a manhole. You don't want to drop a manhole. Every time you drop those stupid manholes, there goes $5 to $8 grand. So I just kept asking questions, and then I said, this is just for 2 little old people, my parents. I was like, they're in their 60s. I was like, they're not big investors. What would you do to save money?
They don't eat much.
Yeah, they don't eat
Student
much.
line,
They're on
right?
food stamps. Spam is wonderful. And he goes, well, oh, another thing I asked, I said, hey, could I get a variance? And he said, well, if my boss approved it, oh, we have another opportunity. And I said, what would you do? He said, the quickest way to do this would be just to tap in with what's called a T insert, or they call it an Insta-T, but basically they insert a T into the sewer line. He goes, then just drag another 6-inch through here. So that's probably what we'll do, it'll be the cheapest. Literally, this will cost $25,000, that would have cost like $52,000. Money saved. Why do I bring this up? I bring it up to illustrate that almost every time that you go to talk to a municipality, or get a permit, or whatever it may be, their first answer is going to be no, and the second answer is going to be build the Taj Mahal, and we want it gold-plated. And it's not their fault. It's just politicians and rules and lawyers have built these huge books with like 500 pages in them, and they can only do what's inside of those 500 pages to give you the permit. So you need to ask questions and get them thinking about ways that they can do the work and still abide inside of these 500 pages. And he even said, well, maybe we could have my boss approve a variance, or maybe we could do this, because this stupid thing, part of the reason it's so expensive is in Lake Stevens, when you dig it out of the ground, we have to truck away the fill, and we have to bring back non-native, perfect soil, dump it in there, and then you gotta repave the road and everything. So that's why this would be so expensive. Anyone have any quick questions on that?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, do you find that when you go into the municipalities or in these organizations, that the first person that you're going to talk to is the one that's going to be able to offer you those solutions, or?
I go to that person first.
And then do you find that they know these things pretty well, and so kind of digging is going to get you those answers?
So, really good question. You have to do your homework first. So I had gone in, I had highlighted the Universal Building Code, I had highlighted this sewer code. I already knew I could only get 4 units on this. I knew how deep this was going to be. I had called the contractors, but I went in like Columbo and just pretended I didn't know anything. So your car was parked in front of the murder house. Why was that? And that always seems to work really well. Just
Make it their idea.
make it their idea, chat with them, smile. I mean, you're not trying to manipulate people, but if you go in and say, hey, I want to come in off of 91st and I'm only going to do it with a side sewer, slam, get out. But you got to chat with them and kind of feel them out. And he had on a Magpul hat, and I was like, hey, you may have an arsenal of guns. I may or may not too. Things like that. Before you go in, know what, kind of plan out how you're going to say it and what objections you're going to run into. Another thing that I brought up, one of the reasons they force you to put manholes out in the street when you're doing developing is for what's called the public use, and is to create benefit for the public. And if you look at that one weird map and try to go to 90, it's literally this property right here, and I know it's kind of hard to tell where that is, but you can see every parcel around it is already serviced by sewer. So one of the things I was able to say to him is, if you're going to put a manhole in the street, I'm creating no public benefit. Don't say I would be saving money. They don't care. Okay, what else? So Keith showed us something from Camino Island. We have how to save money on a development. Other projects or deals or things that we're considering or want to chat about with everyone?
Well, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm guessing somebody else in here is wondering too, but why is a manhole good for the public?
Oh,
What is a manhole? I mean,
yeah. Okay, so when you drive down the street, you see a little thing that says sewer, and your car goes boom, sewer,
Yeah.
Sewer, 80% of all sewer flows gravity, and it flows at a 0.5% or a 1% slope, and then every so many feet they have to put a manhole, and then manhole creates a T environment that's easy to push it in any direction. And so that's why you see them throughout developments. But the problem is every time you put in one of those, it's expensive.
so it just keeps things moving.
It creates an intersection.
Okay.
But the less intersections and and more straight pipes that you can put in, the cheaper.
Thank you.
Okay? Anyone else have a question? Yes, sir.
I know you get plot maps from your title companies and whatnot. Where would you get like these maps to show like utilities and such?
Absolutely great question. So what you do, and you guys are from Oregon, but like in Washington, we have everything that's basically along the I-5 corridor is inside what's called the UGA, when Oregon has a very similar thing to it too. Inside the UGA will dictate who is covering it. So is it inside an urban growth boundary, is it in a city or a county? So first you need to know, number one, what municipality is governing that spot. So one, who and municipality. And that municipality is going to be a city or a county. And when we're talking about, so that's who's going to be in charge of the zoning, the permitting, things of that nature. Then the second one is who is the utility district. And there may be more than one. Utility district. And so for instance on this one, Lake Stevens is the sewer district, and then PUD is the water. And so you literally contact PUD, and they'll give you what's called the as-built, where it is, where it's located, the depth in the ground. And both of these are top views. They have side views too that will show you where it's at and how deep it is. So I just didn't print those out.
So these are the as-built specifications.
This one is an old ghetto as-built. They're nicer than this now. This one is an as-built too, but there is a what is it? A horizontal. This is looking at it like this, and there's another as-built that's like this.
An elevation.
Side
The elevation, there you go. And it shows you the elevation of the pipe and the slope of the pipe. For you to run sewer for conversation's sake real quick is going to cost you between $30 to $200 a foot, depending on how deep it is. Sewer's usually the most expensive one, the water's a little bit cheaper. From each one of these you'll have to get an availability letter. Same for power. Is power available? Is water, sewer available? You get an availability letter.
From the same offices you get these from.
Yeah. Yeah, so literally after I was done, I called the contractor, chat with him, chat with Mike, because Mike's building this, and then I just emailed him back and said, hey, can you send over the availability letter? And they sent over a copy of